welcome back. We're once again using a blank map document because in this lesson I'm going to show you how to use Arc Catalog or the catalog pane to help you manage and view your data. I'll go over showing you how to browse items on your disk, how to drag items directly into ArcMap from Arc Catalog, show you where to create a new folder connection from this view, how to access metadata from there, how to delete feature classes, how to create new geodatabases, and then I'll show you the standalone application as well. To start, Arc Catalog is the data management portion of ArcGIS. So traditionally ArcGIS has been divided up into a number of applications. We've only used ArcMap in this course, but Arc Catalog was a separate data management application. There was ArcScene for 3D viewing and ArcGlobe for sort of Google Earth-like viewing. And they were all part of the analysis suite, though ArcMap definitely took center stage. Arc Catalog recently has been integrated into ArcMap in version 10.0, and there's a catalog window which we can bring up right here, or we can go to Windows, Catalog to bring it up. And I already had it over on the side so it flies out, and I'll pin it here so it stays. And by default, it'll look like this, and be kind of up toward the top here, and you will see all your folder connections available, and any other data sources that you have here too. Arc Catalog makes visible the home folder, which is the default folder for your current map document, where it's saved, or if it's not yet saved, a default folder for all of your map documents. If we go back to where I was, we can see that I can see my geodatabases, we can look inside of them, and we can view any additional information with them, such as being able to right-click and go to item description, and we can see the metadata that way. And the item description window pops up and we can view the metadata if we want. But we can also go to properties and view things like the fields in the data set and any indices that they may have to speed up rendering or access of attributes, and all the other stuff that we haven't yet learned about we can view in the feature class properties here. If I want to take a look at the data set, I could say look at this digital elevation model. It's a raster, and I could just take it and I can click and drag it into ArcMap. And it will add it to my data frame so I could view it. Well, I'm not just stuck in this folder. So as I showed you before, everything's available up here, and I have folder connections to a few spots on my computer. But if I wanted to, I can create a new folder connection up at the top here using the Connect to Folder button. And I can find the spot on my computer that I want to view data from and make a folder connection there. So maybe I have a bunch of data in my Dropbox folder that I want to view. So I can click in that and I can click OK. And it makes a folder connection for my Dropbox. And from there, I can start browsing items in my Dropbox to bring into my map documents. So going back, one of the questions that people often have is how to delete data that they've created. Either you've created a bunch of different geoprocessing files that didn't work out and you don't really want to keep them around, or something along those lines. Well, that's done through Arc Catalog. If it's a shapefile, you can go find all of the files in Windows and just delete them. But geodatabase files look really different, and you can't delete those in Windows because Windows does not understand those files. So if we go back here and I find the data that I was looking at a moment ago, I can go in here and I can just click on that feature class. I can right click and I can go to delete. And it wants me to confirm that I want to delete it. And I'll click yes, and it deletes the feature class from that geodatabase. Now, if I open that folder up in Windows Explorer just to view what it looked like and see if I could try to delete stuff there, we'll find out that I can't. So here's the geodatabase in Windows Explorer, and I can see the whole folder just like in Arc Catalog, but it doesn't have that little database icon that Arc Catalog has for me. And that's because Arc Catalog sees it as a special folder. If I double click inside of the geodatabase, I'll see all kinds of gibberish here. This is a proprietary format. Windows does not understand it. And all of these things that are actually named in ways that we understand, those are just lock files. They say that I have a lock on working with this file and nobody else can work with this file while I have them open. The rest of this is where the data is actually contained. You should never edit this within Windows Explorer unless you want to just take this whole geodatabase and delete it here. So if I was to right click on it and go to delete now, I could do that, but I could not just go edit an individual feature class from within Windows here. Now, what if I wanted to create some new data in Arc Catalog or in ArcGIS in general? I'd want to probably create a new container for it. So maybe I have my Centralia geodatabase here, which has all of my source data, but I want to create kind of a scratch working database for this particular project. So I can right click on the Centralia folder or workspace here, and I can go to New, and I get a lot of options for things to create here, from folders to geodatabases to connections to other databases. I can create shapefiles directly in here and all sorts of other information. And I'll just click File Geodatabase here. And it thinks for a moment, and then it gives me a new one and is asking me for the name. So I'll call it Scratch for Scratch files. And stuff like this happens. It says failed to rename. My guess is because this is in a synchronized folder and something got a lock on it. So I'll click on it again. I'll hit F2 to rename and do Scratch. And now I'll spell it correctly. There we go, renamed. Now if I want to, I can move files directly in or out of there. While the most likely result is that I do some work with something, I can export data directly to there from another geodatabase if I want to. So I could take this digital elevation model I have, and I can go to Export, Raster to different format, and the Copy Raster dialog comes up. By default, it wants to put it in my default geodatabase, but I can choose that new geodatabase that I just created by clicking that Browse button and then navigating to that location that I put that geodatabase right here, and then giving it a name. I'll call it Centralia GEM Working. And I will click OK to have it copy it on over. And what I'll get is I'll get this down here saying it's copying the raster because it's a geoprocessing tool. And in the results pane, I'll see that it's working, and Copy Raster is working right now too. So I can do lots of geoprocessing type tasks from within the Arc Catalog pane as well, depending upon what I'm trying to do. The last thing I want to show you is the Standalone Arc Catalog application. Over on the left, you have the same catalog tree we were just looking at in ArcGIS, but on the right, you have a contents and a preview pane and a description pane. So if I was to want to see that DEM that I was looking at, I can click on it and go to preview, and that activates it, and then preview lets me view it in just the default symbology. But there we go, we just saw this. And then I can go to description, and I will see the item description or the metadata for the data set that is currently selected on the left. I can also see on the right here, Arc Toolbox, and I can do geoprocessing within here, and I get the results pane just as I do with an ArcMap. Sometimes you want to do some basic geoprocessing on some data. You don't open up ArcMap. You don't have to use this though. You can use Arc Catalog in ArcMap for all of your geoprocessing if you like. Okay, that's it for this lesson. In this lesson, I showed you how to use Arc Catalog to view, preview, and manage some of your data. Arc Catalog is sort of on its way out, but it's still necessary for creating new workspaces and new feature classes and other items, as we saw in this right-click menu over here. It's also where we would go to delete existing data sets if we didn't want them anymore. I hope that helps you better understand how to work with ArcGIS. See you in the next lecture.